Okay, good morning and welcome to another edition of Farmall, getting this Farmall tractor going. I'm going to tell everyone why this tractor was parked and why it wasn't repaired until now. And it's quite simple. It's a simple story, and it's kind of silly that we did park the tractor for such a simple problem. But I think that it's a good thing that it got parked when it did, because we would have just continued, or my father would have continued to use this tractor and abuse it until the point where it may not have been worth anything at all. So anyways, here it goes. This tractor was used mainly on the manure spreader when I was a kid. But every fall and I guess summertime, when we would do peas and oats as a forage for the cows, the dairy cows that we had, it would run the blower. And it also ran the blower on when we did high moisture corn in the fall, or early winter. Actually fall, not early winter. We were usually done picking corn by that point. So anyways, this tractor just did those simple menial tasks. The exhaust that was on this tractor consisted of a straight pipe, because at some point in time, probably before I was even born, the threads in the exhaust part of the manifold had stripped out. The pipe loosens up on these things, and it wears away the cast iron threads in the manifold. So my dad drilled a hole in the side of the manifold, and he put a pipe in there, and he threaded it, and he ran that bolt up against that pipe, and it was one loud son of a bitch. When I was a kid, I remember my dad taking the manure out in the winter time, and this tractor would just throw a brilliant blue flame out the top of that pipe, and it was neat to watch. And it's funny because my dad doesn't like straight pipes, but he had a straight pipe on this tractor. Anyways, there was one year when we were blowing silage up into the silo, the big silo, corn silage, and the tractor developed this horrible smoke coming off the engine, the exhaust manifolds. And it was, it was because the valve cover gasket was leaking. It was that simple. And the reason the valve cover gasket was leaking was pretty simple. Before my grandfather died, and he died in 81, and I believe we parked this thing in 82 or 83. I mean, I couldn't have been any more than 10, 11 years old. You see me tapping that carburetor there because the float stuck, and it was leaking gas everywhere. We actually cranked it over right here. The battery was on. But anyway, my grandfather bought a new type of oil. It wasn't a new oil, but it was a new type of oil to us, and it was called Convoy. It was made by the Conklin Oil Company, and Convoy was a synthetic. And if you know anything about putting synthetic oils into old engines, it's not a bad thing to do. It's just, it's like washing your clothes with a high detergent or whatever. I mean, it will clean the engine top to bottom. And that's what happened. All the sludge that laid in the head got washed down into the oil filter. And of course they were changing oil filters all the time because it was cleaning the inside of that engine. As a matter of fact, when Cody pulled the valve covers off of this tractor and Timothy pulled the pan off the bottom of this engine, in the bottom of the engine there was about an inch of shit, and that's all that I can call it. It was an inch of shit because it had set for 35 years, and the valve cover, he pulled it off and it was whistle clean. There was nothing in there but metal, cast iron, rocker arms, push rods, all that wonderful stuff, valve springs, and they were whistle clean. We didn't even have to spray the motor down with any gum cutter or anything to clean it up. So, which was a good thing for this portion of it. But back in 1981 or 82, this thing developed such a leak over the valve cover that my dad decided that it was probably the best thing to do to park this tractor before it burned up. So it drove into the shed, not the blue shed where I work, but into the wagon house, running just fine. and they were going to have it fixed up, but it never happened. They parked the tractor in the back. My Uncle Irv brought over his little 9N, the little 9N Ford that I have now, because my uncle passed away and gave me that tractor when he passed away, and we used that instead of this M. So it just sat in the back there. My sister tied horses to it for years, and it's just the way it is right now. I've got 2 seconds and a dead battery. Ah! What kind of nigger shit is this? Ready yet? Ready? See if we can get a spark out of one of the plugs. Get a spark plug on it. Okay, we got fire. Now we just got to make sure that there's fuel, and she might go. Give her a little bit of a hand with that flash over there. Unplug one of them things. Wait, what? Unplug one of those so I got the heat there. Get up and down here. This fucker's gonna go.